Rihanna, 33 years old, a billionaire. You may not know this about Rihanna, but she's got an incredible story. And one of the things we're going to do on this show over and over and over again is we're going to celebrate people who are excellent. You may know Rihanna for music, but she made majority of her wealth outside of music. Rihanna's story is one of those stories that when you hear it, you just want to cheer for them. You just want to see them be successful. She was born in Barbados in a family where her father was an alcoholic and I believe a crack cocaine addict. There was a domestic violence situation in the home. And she literally, as a young kid, would go with her father and sell clothes as a street vendor in the streets of Barbados. It doesn't get much harder than the life that Rihanna was born into and lived in the early days of her life. Today, at the age of 33, literally 20 years later, she's a billionaire. This is what the opportunities that exist in this world if you understand business, if you understand finance, if you understand investing. She's done a fantastic job of taking the cards that she was dealt and navigating her way to becoming a billionaire. And so the music that she has become famous for obviously allowed her to build a massive social audience, a massive fan base, and to really build the brand of Rihanna. But almost all of the wealth has come from building businesses. She became a billionaire, not through music, but by being a business owner, by being an entrepreneur. And so Fenty Beauty, which was launched in 2017, 4 years ago, is now worth estimated $2.8 billion. She owns 50% of that. $1.4 billion in net worth just from Fenty Beauty. She then has, I believe this is a lingerie company, Savage and Fenty, which is worth an estimated $270 million. She owns 30% of that business. And so, or I'm sorry, the company is worth $1 billion. Her stake is worth $270 billion, about 27, 30, almost 30%. And then the rest of her net worth comes from music, acting, and entertainment. So we're looking at an individual who came from the streets of Barbados, literally selling clothes as a street vendor in Barbados, from a home that no child should grow up in, and has been able to build generational wealth. This is what entrepreneurship is all about, right? To build, not who cares about the actual money itself, but to build financial security and freedom for her, her family, her loved ones, her children, her grandchildren, etc. This is what it is all about. And so when you start to look at this, she didn't leave Barbados behind. In 2018, she was appointed as an ambassador of education, tourism, and investment by the government of Barbados. And so Forbes estimates her net worth at $1.7 billion. It makes her the wealthiest female musician in the world. And she's the second richest female entertainer, only behind Oprah Winfrey. She sold over 250 million records. She's earned 14 number one and 31 top 10 singles in the US. She's got 9 Grammys, 12 Billboard Music Awards, 6 Guinness World Records. She's got a social media following of over 100 million followers on both Instagram and Twitter. I hear these stories and I just get excited. When somebody can go from basically nothing and build this type of insane value and capture some of it for themselves and their family, right?
Yeah, well, I think what she did that was incredible was you see a bunch of people that have these large followings. So I forget what you said. I think it was 200 million she has across Instagram and Twitter following wise. She's obviously a massive presence. I didn't know she was only 33 years old. That surprised me a little bit. But she went and the company's only 4 years old at this point. And she said, hey, look, I have this massive audience. They'll buy essentially everything I put out. I can keep doing these endorsement deals and these things that kind of all these other companies want me to do. And maybe I'll get a small equity percentage or whatever. But she said, some people will say, hey, look, I'll start it with a friend. I'll own 80% of it or whatever it is. But she went with LVMH and was like, hey, I'm going to the top of the business. I'm going to own 50%. We're going to do it together. And we're going to see how big we can make this. And 4 years later, it's $1 billion company, multi-billion dollar company, essentially.
Is this the new model for entrepreneurs, is to go build a massive audience and then turn around and build the businesses? Like go find the customers and then just continuously launch company after company? Because not just one company she's launched.
Yeah.
She now has $2 billion companies that she is a founder, partner, whatever in, right? She's got the Fenty Beauty, which is the $2.8 billion cosmetic business or makeup or whatever it is categorized. And then 2 is Savage and Fenty, which is a $1 billion business that she owns 27-30% of.
Yeah, well, it makes sense for both of them, right? Because she says, hey, look, I have this audience that I can monetize in whatever way I choose to necessarily, but they'll buy whatever I want. But I don't have any of kind of the infrastructure or the background or knowledge of the situation or this space. You guys are much more equipped, LVMH I'm talking about, to go and do that, right? You have all the infrastructure, you have all of this, the e-commerce, everything kind of around the world set up already. So let's partner on this together. And then for you guys, it's going to make you much more culturally relevant. It's obviously going to make you a lot of money, but it's also going to kind of amplify everything else you guys are doing on the other brands that you already own. So it makes a lot of sense for both parties. And look, it's hard to argue with the success. It's a multi-billion-dollar company in 4 years that was literally just started like that. So it's kind of it's hard to argue. She's not the only one that's done it. There's been a bunch of people in the liquor space and all these other kind of celebrities to do similar models, but it's clearly working if you have that audience and that distribution.
Well, as a brand, you go and find someone that has that distribution and organically, right? So we were talking about that brother-sister combo that started selling candy out of Texas. What do they do to really launch their brand very well is they went to someone who was from their hometown who had a large following and said, hey, if you like it, can you post it? It's basically free for them, right? And it just gives you large distribution right away.
Is it possible to create a luxury brand from scratch today without having somebody with huge distribution? Like, will the next Louis Vuitton or whatever be created without a partnership? Like, we've seen Kanye do this. Yeezy now, his net worth is $6.6 billion. They estimate Rihanna to be $1.7 billion or so. Like, is it now at the point where all of the luxury brands or aspirational brands that get built are going to be from people who have large audiences?
Yeah, well, I think it's tough, right? Because they go hand in hand. So like Virgil Abloh is a good example with Off-White. Like he became a celebrity necessarily as Off-White became more popular and he started doing all these other partnerships. So when you get to a certain level, I think it goes hand in hand. But like in her case, it's all about leverage, I think, right? Like how can I, instead of selling, whatever it is, she does sponsored posts or like, I think the thing with Kim Kardashian's famous because she does like $1 million or more per post, right? So she'll do a sponsored Instagram post, get paid $1 million. But then eventually she's like, all right, why don't I just go start my own company, Skims, and get some leverage and build a business and get equity in it, and then eventually I can sell it for kind of whatever I want, essentially. So I think that's kind of the game of like, how can I get more leverage in this instead of just going to sell and partner with these people and get paid cash up front.
Hey guys, thanks so much for watching that clip of the Best Business Show. Make sure you like and subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications so you know when we go live every weekday, and then head to SoFi.com/pomp so that you can get an account and we can get after it.